Hey guys, well, we made it through 2020, barely. Getting ready to start 2021 and get a whole new year going. Before we get into the lure, I want to thank everybody that's been purchasing my t-shirts. Hopefully over the holidays you picked a few of those up if you needed them for presents. The link to this shirt and any other stuff you'll find down in the description. One other thing I wanted to mention before we get started with this. I found some problem with YouTube. I'm going to probably make this announcement in more than one video. And that is, sometimes you guys leave comments and YouTube will not let me respond. I get a notice, there it is, you've left a comment. And then when I go to try to respond to you or reply, YouTube doesn't show the comment exists. And I can't find it, I can't get to it. So I don't know what YouTube's doing. But if you leave a comment, if you leave a question and I don't answer you, sometimes that's because YouTube just won't let me. All right? Now, this time around, I got a shad wrap style we're going to use here. I started using a few of those at the end of last year. Really like the way they work. I want to try to get some more of those in the spring. So let's do one of these. We're going to do a wrap, but we're only going to wrap half the lure. Stick with me. Now, you might be able to see a little yellow tinging around, a little yellow paint. That is a sign of a lure that I screwed up, took all the paint off it, and started all over again. Sometimes that's what we have to do. But we just give it a good coating of some opaque white for a base coat. And it looks just like a brand new lure, ready to paint. All right, got the base coat on. Let's move on to some colors. Now, as I said, we were going to do a wrap on this lure, but we're not going to wrap the entire lure. And we do want a different color for our base coat under the wrap. And in this case, we're going to use Createx Transparent Bright Red. So you may be asking, if I'm going to use bright red underneath the wrap, why paint it white first? And the reason is, your red will not come out as a nice bright red on a blank that has not been painted. You need that white base coat to get the color red to look right. So, we've got that. We're going to do red. As I said, we're not going to do the entire lure with this. So we're going to come back here to just behind where the front hook set eye is. And that's where we're going to stop. And that's it. Okay, we've got our red in the front, and as you can see, it kind of bleeds back or blends back a little, and that's fine, won't make any difference. Now, we're going to take the heat gun, and we want to dry this really good before we get ready to put a wrap on it. All right, I think we got it dried off. I think we're ready for a wrap. Here's what I want to use for a wrap today, and I usually use 2 pieces, but I'm only covering half of it, so it won't matter. Here is what I'm using. It's a floral ribbon. Offray, O-F-F-R-A-Y. I picked this up in the fake flower section of Walmart. Found that at Walmart. It's got some glitter on it. You're going to have to get the glitter off. Let me put this back up. I just rub it around real good over a trash can or something to get the ribbon off. There's a wire on either end of it. I've cut that off here. I pulled the wire out. I didn't bother to cut it. But in this situation, I cut it because, and let me find it, many times I have to use 2 of these to cover a lure because it's too small. I don't want a straight edge, so by cutting it, when I overlap them, you won't notice that straight line, which would be right down the middle of your lure, which would look funny. So, got to do a little work on this ribbon to get rid of the wire here and the wire here, and then cut off a little of that edge so you don't have a straight line. But in our case today, we're not going to need both of them because we're only doing half the wrap. So basically we're just going to come right around here, pull that down tight. Let me get the clip off there. Use my hairbreadth clips that I like to use. There's one. Get the other one up here. There we go. Alright, that's got us pulled down good and tight. We're just covering what we did on the red. Now, I like to cover the red. We're going to cover it back with white. And in this case, we're going to use, just like we did on the base, Createx opaque white. Let's just give us a cover and cover that red up really good. I'm not going to worry reel back where it's bleeding back into that. That's okay, because we're going to be covering this up again too. Get that nose good. Alright, there we go. Got that part. Let me clean out and we'll move on. Alright, for our top cover, to cover everything, Createx Pearlized White. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, why'd you bother to paint the opaque white if you're going to end up just putting the pearlized white? I'm not sure if the pearlized would cover that red totally, would cover it really good. The only way you really want to cover a paint is with an opaque. A transparent or a pearlized may not give you the coverage you want. So it's just one extra step. Put the opaque on first. We'll come back with the pearlized after that. The pearlized I love because it just gives that shine and that luster that you don't get from your opaque paints. Alright, that's got us covered there. Now we're going to get the heat gun. We're going to dry that really good, and then we'll take the wrap off. Now, before we take the wrap off, I want to show you something where I was just discussing the pearlized or the opaque paint. Let me move this up. That'll help. I don't know. And I want to hope the camera will pick this up. But when I put the opaque paint over the wrap, I said I'm not going to get really back here on the back. I'm just covering the wrap where that initial red was kind of fading into or blending into the white. Then when I put the pearlized, I covered the entire lure. But if you will look, you can see the red coming through. You can see a little of that red, and that's because that area right there only has the pearlized. It does not have the opaque. So that's why I said I want to put the opaque over the color, even though they're both white. Clearly the pearlized does not cover those other colors as well as the opaque will. I want to point that out to you quick. Alright, clips off. And there we are. We got it halfway. But we're not quite done yet. Hang on just a second. Alright, we're going to come back one more time. We're going to bring back our transparent red that we used earlier. And this time, we're just doing the head. And we're going to point kind of towards the front so we don't get this red very far back there. And that's all I want. There we go. We got the red head, then we move into the wrap, and then we go where it's clear. Now, if you wanted to do the full wrap, maybe you could have changed and put a different color back there. Maybe you could have put a yellow, a green, blue, something like that. But in this case, I thought we're just going to go red and white. We're going to just need a set of eyes now. Clearly, we're not going to want to use red eyes in this one, so we'll come up with another color. Get some eyes on the top coat. Let's see where we stand. Well, there we go, guys. There's our half wrap lure. Now, I don't know if a half wrap is going to catch you any more fish than a full wrap lure, but hey, it's a little something different. Looks a little bit different, and I didn't think it came out too bad. Hey, thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.